Hello and welcome to Logistical Nightmare Racing. My name is Ike Sky, a slightly different voice to what you're used to hearing here on the YouTube channel, but a very special event for everybody tonight as YouTube gets itself together and starts being slightly less complaining about everything that's going on. That's right, GT3 racing is back, and it is back in a big way on PC and at Spa-Francorchamps. Is there any better place in the world to start off your GT3 season? As the qualifying session begins, this is a very, very good... I have to keep these two buttons pressed down, otherwise the camera will stop moving. But I can. There we go. Get the page up to... because I did have all of that up, but I was trying to be clever. So, the championship for Tuesday nights has 6 rounds, if I am counting correctly, and this, of course, is the first one. Next week, we will go to the UK and to Brands Hatch for another fairly similar format race. Round 3 will be the daunting prospect of Bathurst. Round 4 will be Snetterton. That's going to be an event. Round 5 takes us to France and Paul Ricard, and then to Logistical Nightmare's home country of South Africa for the final round at Kyalami. Now, I am not familiar with a lot of the names here, so there are going to be some murders going on, I think it's fair to say. But as the drivers get ready for their initial flying laps, something very, very important to be aware of, as the 731 of De Villiers gets it very wrong but gobbles it all back up before he gets to the fast lap. Actually made up a position on the road as well, which is, well, it could be to his benefit. It will benefit the Ferrari behind, who will now have the Aston Martin to tow him up the Kemmel Straight, which we are coming up to now, just as soon as all the drivers manage to negotiate on this very low fuel run. Eau Rouge and Radion, that little king to the left is Eau Rouge, and this big sweeping right left is actually what is called Radion. It could be the other way around, I never quite remember. As always, if anybody is familiar with my commentating, I have YouTube chat open. I can see what's going on, so if there's anything that I'm missing, anything that you're seeing that is worth talking about, feel free to put it down in the YouTube chat, and I will get it seen to if it is possible. Of course, that is requiring that the competition isn't too fierce on track at the time. So not much to see from this initial flying lap. De Villiers going as brave as he can for on track limits through Pouhon. And holding it all together down through campus. And now the long haul. This is where the Aston Martin will be very, very, very quick if the 731 doesn't go very wide. I think that might be, I dare say, a disallowed lap. Therefore, let's get everything sorting okay. It's okay though, because De Villiers can go for another run without too much of a challenge. These kinds of mistakes will cost him later on, though, if he continues to make them, because Spa is so long. This 10-minute qualifying session that we have means that after one flying lap we're already under 4.5 minutes to go. Great for the excitement, though. Let's see who can get the best out of the cars within, say, 2 laps of the green flag flying. A Porsche is at the top of the timesheets for the time being. Shock horror in the form of Heineke in the 96 car. Very nice black and gold livery there. 2 tenths behind is Jacques Vermeulen. I told you I'm going to have fun with names. In the 34 BMW. Paul Venter in the 42 Bentley is then 3rd. That's your opening salvo as far as times are concerned. Remember too that there are still 5 drivers left to set any kind of representative lap time. This is going to be a tight session. No room for errors this time. Let's actually keep an eye on Barrington Smith here in the R8. Has got the Bentley in front punching a nice hole for him. Who is that is just in front of him? Unfortunately, the resolution isn't quite letting me play. I'll cheat now. The 107, that is of Anthony Wilson. Looks to be having a bit of trouble with that Bentley. Barrington Smith is looking significantly closer. Ooh, unless he's had that time deleted as well. I'll just check very quickly. Yeah, I think that's not going to be representative. He's going to have to clear this Bentley quickly, because if he doesn't clear him now, the Bentley deals with himself. That's a big off for Anthony Wilson. Thankfully only qualifying, so nothing to see per se. Someone who is going very, very quickly in that Honda NSX is Jan Verdemer. For him anyway, 7 seconds off the pace at the top of the timesheets. That top 7 cars is going to be a nightmare to commentate on. They are so close. It looks as though Barrington Smith is still circulating, so he's on pace with his previous best, which was a 2:19. He's able to get into the pace as Van der Meer goes 7th and 1.2 seconds off, but most notably Heineke is into the 218s, and not by a small margin. Also one of my favourite cars, the 720S of... I knew I shouldn't have clicked on this car yet. Of Tristan dem Neubreger. Norbreger. Sorry, there's no Y in there. I don't know why I thought there was. With Van der Meer taking the 86 to 3rd position now. 1 minute 15 remaining, so if the drivers have passed the start-finish line now, they are not going to get any more laps in. Tristan might possibly get another shot. Vermeulen is going very quickly in that 34 BMW. Not enough to take the pole provisionally at the moment, although that was a very quick line through the bus stop chicane at the end of the lap. Let's see where it takes him. 2nd position, a 900th of a second off pole position, and he will get one more stab at the cherry for tonight. Van der Meer also is going quicker. Yeah, this is sim racing. So many people sign up and then none of them show. Having run admin things like this before, I'm totally sympathetic to the cause. Really am. So Strauss has given best. Anthony Wilson is also not going to be going any further. Let's have a look at the track map and who will get across. That is the 731 might possibly. No, it's not. Nope, that will be the end of that. So 72 car, is he? That's across the line and gone. So this is going to be over fairly quickly. The number 70 car will be our last to cross. Oh no, he's abandoned as well. He's in the pits. Barrington Smith. There we go. Going up the hill. Looks like he may have got this. Yeah, he's got the lap. So he'll have the opportunity to complete this lap. I would suggest Van Vuren too, just behind Jensen Van Vuren. That's a really long name. Coming through Pouon now. Down through Lafagna, keeping that Ferrari nice and tight. 8/10 up on his previous sector as he goes through to start sector 3, or yeah, the sector 3. Final sector. Can he keep it all together? Can he get up the hill in any kind of shape? Watch the split times to his previous. He's not quite got as much traction off of Campus and Stavolo as he might have liked, but there's still enough time to pull it all back into the bus stop for the final time. And back on the throttle, has gained a massive amount of time through the second apex lap. That was an exhilarating qualifying session, and right at the very end, De Norbregga taking that McLaren to the top of the timesheets. Let me do what I love to do here. It's one of the few things that ACC does that I really, really enjoy. So, as the on-track commentators get right in my way, let's run down this 16-car starting grid for the first round of the championship. Tristan de Norbregga will start from pole position with Chris Heinecke beside. Paul Venter in the 42 Bentley will start the second row of the grid with Jacques Vermeulen in fourth position. Great pace for that BMW. Robin van der Merwe will start the 86 Audi from 6th, and Korn Strauss in the number 1 Ferrari will start from 7th. 8th position will be Gerrit Jansen van Vuren. I almost feel as though that name is a bit of a dare. I'm not used to these South African names. While Neil Greening will start the 93 in 9th. 10th will be Dale de Villiers. 11th will be Desmond Pullen in that very, very vibrant Aston Martin. Wow, that's a livery. The 15 Bentley of Desmond Pullen oh dear, will start in 11th, and 12th will be Quinton Stein in the number 2 car. 67 Johannes van der Merwe will start 13th, Anthony Wilson will start 14th, 15th will be Nederik Steenkamp, and the 975 of Ethan Rutter, well done tongue, will start in last position. Can he do anything about that starting position? I guess we'll just have to see, won't we? Come on, that button. As the drivers pull away on their warm-up lap, go to the camera set that actually shows some cars as opposed to what goes on normally. Critical phase of the race for our drivers now, because these cars will be doing their best to murder our drivers when they get to Eau Rouge for the first time of asking. However, some prep work here, some riding on the brakes, and some weaving perhaps will help alleviate that. ACC has a very good tyre simulation model Much better than a lot of the sims out there. So the kind of things that we're used to seeing in Formula 1 and endurance racing, we're going to be seeing a lot of that tonight. Seeing a few people drop into chat. Sharks, good to see you. Stefan Vessels. Vessels or Wessels? I've been commentating European drivers for way too long. And Sean Stryden. Very good evening to you all from the combox. Morning from the track, obviously. It's only 10 past 10 in the morning. But the weather, I hope it's better for you guys than it is here. Out in Spa, apparently, it is 16 degrees and track temperature is 19, so a wonderful set of conditions for our drivers to negotiate. A mandatory pit stop is the order of the day for this 50-minute race. The number ones next to all of the car numbers that you can see there mean that the drivers must drop into the pits and do a mandated pit stop with a specific level of service. Probably 4 tyres normally. It's raining in Cape Town. That's... do you know what? What I wouldn't give for some rain. Oh man. Also, coincidentally, the best thing to race in. I've had many a fun time driving in the rain. Both in real life and in sim racing. Always a really unique challenge. It's one of those things that throws some of the less well prepared drivers off. I find it a really good giggle. So as we come out of Stavolo for the last time, take a breath. It's likely to be the last one that you get before we get to see the checkered flag. Pit strategy is going to be key. Overcuts, undercuts. With this length of race, either of them are absolutely viable. Looking after the tyres in the first stint of the race and nailing your opportunity to take positions while the rest of the drivers stop in the pits can absolutely be a way to make pit stops work, and to the undercut, getting into the pits as soon as it's done and watching the positions make themselves. A lot of flexibility, a lot of options. And we have 16 drivers who need to work this out all by themselves. I think it's going to be to the endurance line, isn't it? Yeah, it is. I really wish they used the sprint like the Formula 1 straights. La Source is so much less of a scary first corner than Eau Rouge. Lots of tyre warming for Nobrega. And we wait with bated breath. I hope that you can all hear me and the cars very well. Big old emergency stop at the back of the field as they get into 2x2 formation. Lovely and neat at the start of the head of the field though. Split times are awful. The segment goes green. The green flag is out, and we race down towards our ridge for the first time of asking. 2x2 they come down. Will they file in neatly? We have eyes on Vermeulen, and I think we just about got everyone through safely there. Unfortunately, the broadcasting tools aren't the best. Who is that? That is the McLaren losing positions. As they come through the first split, everything begins to be terrible. There we go. So Nobrega has lost the lead by some massive margin. I can only assume he got it very, very lively over the top of Radeon. And the Porsche and Bentley making hay. The Porsche in front making hay while the sun shines. Chris Heinecke with an astonishing jump off the line. What a pace to have on lap 1 of the race. Meanwhile, the 34 BMW looks to be a little bit of a cork in the bottle. Although that would be heinously unfair to say that at this early stage of the race. You could still be waiting for those tyres to come up to temperature as we come through the second split yet again. Van der Mar has got it very wrong at some point in Sector 2. So, as the positions start to even out, Nobrega is under pressure from Paul Venter. That Bentley absolutely deadly on the brakes. If Venter can get the car into a position where he's able to duck to the inside and have a bit of a dive, that is going to be a very convincing pass to make with that Bentley. Wilson on the defensive from Rutter. It looks like as they come across the line, Rutter gets on the brakes, maybe slightly outbrakes himself, runs wide, and will end up losing a position to that is Steenkamp in the 72 Ferrari. Pulls back into line. Gets it back on the exit. Through Eau Rouge they go, nice. And line astern. You can't afford, as we see Steenkamp in the background getting it ever so slightly wrong. Bentley tries to go defensive. Did the Bentley have to lift off through Eau Rouge? That is unusual for a Bentley this early in the race as well. Meanwhile, a brilliant fight over third position is still ongoing. Thank you very much, ACC. I do love it when you do that. Lots of pressure being applied up and down the field. Greening looks like he is gunning for a fight with De Villiers in that Aston Martin. Sky Liveried 93 Ferrari. Oh, what is that? Someone has thrown it off the field. 74's on the racing line. So that is Barrington Smith from so high up. What happened there? Was that on the defensive or on the attack? Let's have a very quick look at the 74 car. No, he was already there. Oh, he was on his own. Heartbreak for Ryan there. Lots of time to get it back together. And a pit stop as well, again to play to his advantage. 4 cars come through the bus stop chicane as one Bentley can't quite get the drive off for Anthony Wilson. But this Aston on Ferrari, there's an NSX up ahead in the form of Van der Merwe. Looks like Stein didn't get the drive off the corner. Either that or he's got his traction control set too low and he spun the rear wheels up. A bit of a rare mistake that you don't see too often in ACC. I'm not personally a fan of traction control, but you can totally understand why. Villiers gets it wrong. The Ferrari is hunting. He didn't make it happen that time, but the pressure is starting to make a difference for Dale de Villiers now. And a disconnection for Desmond Pullen. He has pulled out the race for some reason or other. If it's for the heat, I don't blame him. I really, really don't. As Wilson... What's that gap there? That was Ethan Rutter is... Now I saw a time gap jump to next to nothing. Van der Moa has had a 5-second penalty already. I wonder if we can get some... No. No insight on where that has come from. I shall check some of the other sources. But live stewarding is in effect. Anthony Wilson now on the back of the NSX, looks up the inside. I told you the Bentley was good on the brakes. I really wasn't joking. From the inside as well. Left the space on the outside so that Van der Moa could take the corner as normal. Easy as anything in the Boatley. Now this battle over 6th position. Always the lower half of the top 10 that gives us all of the really, really good fights. Aston has a lot of front straight line speed but gives it away in the corners, whereas the Audi and the Ferrari behind really, really good in the corners. Really nice and pointy. It looks like the Audi's well hooked up there for Ryan Barrington-Smith. Looks to the outside, looks to the inside, we come down in towards Bruxelles, falls back into line for the time being. And down towards Pouon for the 3rd time for asking. Under race conditions anyway. Audi's just able to hold it a little bit tighter than the Ferrari. Implies that setup might be just a little bit tastier. Ferrari takes a very, very narrow line in to Lafagna there. Is he going to do the same into Campus? He does. Gets all over the curb on the exit. The Audi knows exactly how wide that AstroTurf is on the outside. Now the big old drive. The Audi will have a disadvantage here because of a horsepower deficit, but it is being dragged up the hill by the Ferrari. He pulls out of the slipstream, goes side by side with the Ferrari. I don't think he's going to do anything up towards... Oh, good grief, the Ferrari let him go. Up towards Blanchimont. I wasn't expecting that. And now the 74 car can go hunting towards the 93. Why is Tristan Dinabrega in the pits? Is this him getting his pit stop out of the way this early into the session? That would be a peculiar choice if so. That's way, way too early. Unless he's having actual issues. Greening now. Back up on the Audi. That straight line speed that has been for nothing. Now that the Audi's in some clear air. Car 86 got a penalty for avoidable contact on lap 1 of the race. Thank you to the steward for throwing that at me there. But it doesn't look as though there is a pit window, so even more strategy being able to be worked out here. And as Nobrega drops to the back of the field temporarily, let me say, that 17 McLaren is going to have a new set of boots on, and is going to be able to run and run and run to the end of the race, hoping that the clear air that it'll afford him, this is such a big track, this is very, very likely that he's going to have a lot of clear air. Vermeulen 2, a car to keep an eye on, performed really well in qualifying, and those BMWs are very, very hot when they can be, when they need to be. Oh, big spin for De Villiers, all on his own, all that hard work, and Barrington Smith is gifted 5th position. Jansen van Vuren, where was he? Just outbraked himself. Oh, Mental Panda. PC crashed. Technical issues causing the worst of retirements, as always. So, Nobrega is out. He's out and circulating, and if we look at the track map very quickly, he has so much clear air. Next on his hit list will be the 72 car, and if that McLaren is set up in any kind of way, Tristan de Nobrega has put himself into a position where he could be fighting for the win come the end of this race. Big, big play by Tristan there. And Rutter now, we keep looking at that De Villiers car, but he keeps getting into fights. He's just had a little spin up at the bus stop, and now has the 975 Ferrari for company. See if that is a crack in De Villiers' armour, or if it was just a one-off. Strange to get the Aston turned round. It's normally a very, very stable car. Ooh, Venter is taking the gamble as well. So this is early enough that I could well imagine that is some kind of response to Nobrega's pit a couple of laps ago. Ooh, that's a wee bit. Obviously, Venter has seen something that we are not privy to up in the comp box, but I can well imagine this is a reaction to that number 70 McLaren. As this fight suddenly becomes over 6th position, but with a pit stop yet to be served. Have I mentioned how it's really, really hot in the UK at the moment? It's awful. Waiting to see where Venter ends up coming out. He still hasn't come down off the jacks, but now he comes down off the jacks. This is going to be so tight with the 70 car. We come piling down the hill. Venter has left the pit. He's back out onto the track, but he still has to negotiate the very twisty and winding section on the exit of the pit lane, and then he's going to have a lot slower speed when he comes up onto the Kemmel Straight. This isn't over yet for Nobrega. Braking down into Lecombe. Perfectly poised, as all McLaren should be. He's got tyre temperature in his tyres. And he has his eyes set on that 42 Bentley. How much pace does the 70 car have? Last lap was quick enough. And it looks as though the Bentley isn't quite as quick over a full lap as the McLaren. But we're very quickly going to see how much different the pace is. 70 cars using every inch of the track that is considered track and just a load more. Awesome driving by Tristan there. So the Bentley will start to have some temperature in its tyres now. And what can that McLaren do? This is the battle for second position if I remember correctly. Second position, doesn't look like much at the moment, but the rest of the drivers have yet to do any kind of pit stop. Two Porsches lead the way in the form of Heineke in the 96 and Strauss in the number 1 car. But behind them, it's a whole lot of Ferrari, a whole lot of Aston, and one solitary Audi in the middle of it all. Vermeulen looks like he might be able to make some hay in his clear lap as well. As Rutter now gets it almost to a second of 2 de Villiers up ahead. Strauss starting to be under a bit of pressure from the number 6 Ferrari as well. So Stuttgart and Maranello will absolutely play a role in the fight for the checkered flag here. Rutter's getting closer. I think that was someone in the... No? No, it's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. The timing screens just think there's a car underneath the track, Eau Rouge or something. Oh, coming up the hill now, Nobrega. Under a second, he'll be starting to feel the toe of that big old Bentley up in front. McLaren, a very, very streamlined beast as well, so will be gaining all of the benefit. Through Blanchimont they come. Is he brave enough to have a dive up into the bus stop chicane? Bentley goes defensive, sits in the middle of the road. 70 will take the racing line. That will make the Bentley slow through the first apex, but it doesn't matter. It does matter that he got wheel spin on the curb. On the outside, he will stick to the right-hand side of the road. The 70 goes to the outside. Can Nobrega do it on the outside, or is that even too much to ask for the McLaren? Side by side, they go through La Source. And a bit of a wiggle again from Venter, and that will be the position gained. Net second for the McLaren of Nobrega, and he did it the hard way. Not content to just sit and let it happen though. Venter will pull out again coming up the Kemmel Straight. We know that Bentley's fantastic on the brakes. Can he do it at Lecombe? McLaren comes back towards the racing line, but not so much that he has to give way to the Bentley. I fear as though the Bentley might not quite have the performance to pull that one off at the moment. Henneke is in the pits as well. So, the race leader into the pits, and this will have implications for the race as well. Strauss takes the lead of the race as he goes through Sector 2. Give him some camera time because we can. The charge from the number 6 car seems to have fallen away ever so slightly. Rutter into the pits as well. So we're just over? I think we're just over halfway through the race now. No, we're just coming up to it. There we go. This is why we're getting a sudden influx of drivers. And will he stop before the Porsche? Oh, thank goodness. My immersion isn't ruined. What else do we have? That Bentley is still attached by a fairly short string. It has become longer. Henneke is down and out of the pits, and here we go. It's the game that we were playing before, but all over again. Norbreger through a Rouge and Radion. The leader of the race will be back out onto the racetrack now. You saw him just disappear around the corner. And there is Norbreger's target acquired. As to whether he can even get there to the back of the Porsche, we don't know. Don't know what the Porsche is actually like on... Well, no, I do know what it's like. It's a nightmare. It's an absolute animal. But it is... Oh, here we go. The leader pits, and then everybody starts to respond. Korn Strauss in the number 1 car in the pits. Gerrit Van Vuren in the pits. Neil Greening into the pits. Barrington Smith has suddenly pushed himself to the top of the timing screens. Has a fairly fastest lap as well, so absolutely deserves to be there. I wonder if the clear air that we saw earlier in the race might possibly be coming to Ryan's way. Let me just have a very quick... Where is the number 74 car? 74 does have clear space, but not as much as you would think. The 34 car is only a few corners away. And the 975 obviously much ahead. Oh no. Did we call Van Vuren sheep? Oh dear. Do I want to know what why you call him sheep? Still in the pits, still in the pits, still in the pits. Oh, it's an eternity that they end up being sat there. The 7th and 8th cars will come out nose to tail. Ferrari looks like he got it slightly better than the 1 car. Yes, the McLaren's just getting... Oh, it's just his nickname. Okay. So who's going to be fastest on cold tyres? These guys both followed each other out of the pit lane. And it does look as though if there was slightly cleaner air over the front of that Porsche, they would be able to do something more in the corners. Oh, it closes a big slide for Van Vuren. Did he make contact? I think he did. Let's have a look at the front of the car. Oh, he might have been very lucky there. Or maybe not. That could have been earlier contact though. What else is going on here? So this will become very quickly a form for the closing stages of the race. De Villiers is into the pits for his mandatory pit stop. Anthony Wilson too in the 107. So Barrington Smith is going a little bit long now in this particular race. I'm not sure how much of a good idea that is, unless he is hoping that he's going to have fresh grippy rubber for the final few laps of the race, and that's what he's going to make work. Venta's starting to pull it back in as well, back to the 70 car as the drivers drop away. Good grief. Is the 74 coming in this time around? No, he almost. Oh, De Villiers with a stop and go 30. That will have been not getting his speed limiter on at the right time. That's a really big punishment down this pit lane as well. Just need to wait for all the split times to work themselves out. And we'll be able to give you some more concrete numbers. That was the leader coming out to lap. That'll be the red and blue Bentley of De Villiers, he says with a note. 107. Anthony Wilson. Very sorry, sir. I got my cars in a twist. Heineke now on the back of Steenkamp. This is a pit stop apart now, about to be for the 72 Ferrari. No reason for him to block, but there's also no reason to let the incumbent race leader through. Into the pits goes the Ferrari. He's given best to the race leader, and Heineke goes to 4th position overall with a pit stop in hand and only 14.5 seconds to make up to the 67 Honda in 3rd. Currently drive-through for De Villiers has been assumedly pushed back from that stop and go 30, because a stop and go 30 is a big penalty for speeding the pit lane through here. How are the rest of our gaps here now? As Heineke is promoted to 2nd through all of that. Doesn't look like Nobrega has got an answer for Heineke's pace. But it's absolutely got the pace to gap Venter in the 42 car behind. Very easily dropped, however, that 2-second lead that he has currently. What's going on further down here? This is Vermeulen behind Villiers, who has a drive-through penalty, so no reason necessarily to push the case too hard with De Villiers here. But perhaps De Villiers not quite having the pace of that BMW at the moment, and potentially holding him up. And with Rutter only 1.6 seconds away, there could be a 9th position. Well, there's definitely a 9th position. There could be an 8th position in the offing for Vermeulen if he can get past this Aston Martin in good time. Most interestingly, Barrington Smith is still out. Looks as though he has the best part of a lap on the rest of the field. Let's very quickly see where he is versus the 96. My goodness. But of course, that is all pending a drive-through for Steenkamp as well in the 72 car. So I don't think Barrington Smith is necessarily going to win this race, but he's certainly going the right way about working the traffic to his advantage. Into the pits he comes. Now don't do this very often, but let's just live with the agony that is this Spa pit lane. Because it is so long. It is so long. And that is De Villiers into the pits for a drive-through as well, that you saw just up ahead. So that's how far ahead Barrington Smith is of 10th. Almost a lap. Absolutely astonishing. And I don't know how many of you guys that are watching have necessarily had to drive down this pit lane. It's long. It's really long. It's one of those old school things that you don't get anymore, because the tracks all have really safe and sanitized experiences for the drivers as well as the spectators, by comparison of course. As the Van der Merwe brothers join forces or clash swords one way or another, NSX goes defensive, or is that letting him past? It is letting him past. So for whatever reason, Johannes Van der Merwe letting Robin Van der Merwe past. Nice and easy. What else do we have? Looking at the timing screens, Anthony Wilson is going a little bit faster than he has, but Heineke resumes the lead of the race. Where did Barrington Smith come out? He has come out in 4th position. This is going to be an interesting place to sit for a few minutes, as that 74 Audi has launched itself up to 4th position overall with a 10-second gap almost before in front and behind him. One car is 7.7 seconds behind, and Venter in the 42 BMW is 9 seconds up the road. First 4 drivers representing different manufacturers, different ideas on how to do this GT3 format, how to build your car. Vermeulen now looks like he is starting to twist the screws on the 975 of Ethan Rutter. We've seen this before. 975 perhaps not feeling too confident at the moment. Janssen van Vuren as well is really starting to put the screws on the number 1 Porsche of Strauss big time as they come up into the bus stop. And that is the end of lap 14, like that. Strauss in the pure gold car has got a lot of work to do if he wants to keep that 5th position. Tell you what, he's also doing enough to keep the gap to Barrington Smith, while Barrington Smith has closed in a second on the 42 Bentley of Paul Venter. I'm inventing letters. That's absolutely fine. Lot of confidence from the number 1 Porsche there to not pull across to block any potential attack. That'll keep his lap time up as well, which is key if he's going to keep that Ferrari behind. Actually, let's do this. Let's do this because I can, and because it looks pretty. On board with the number 6 Ferrari, enjoy a little bit of the noise of this fabulous GT3 car as we start to come up the hill back towards the pit lane and start-finish straight. The drivers put their foot down at the exit of campus and won't take it off until they get to the bus stop chicane right at the end of the hill. Enjoy this. So, Ferrari number 6 attacking Korn Strauss in the number 1 car. Let's take you on a very quick track guide with 10 minutes to go of this Spa-Francorchamps circuit. This is the start line that we use, also known as the start endurance start. Making your first corner the ever-imposing Eau Rouge and Radiant up over the hill and then straight on to the Kemmel Straight. Maxing out about 180 miles per hour to some of these GT3 cars when they go pure low drag, up towards Le Com and up on the brakes, 3rd, maybe 2nd gear, left and right as the 6 car gets it very wrong up in the dirty air of the Porsche, and then Malmedy is that little right hand kink on the exit. Downhill right hander off camber 2 kind of for Bruxelles. Hang it in 1st or 2nd gear and just hope that the corner's going to end. Down to around Speaker's Corner. And now we go down towards the lowest part of the circuit. A double left-hander of Pouon. Get the car balanced on the rear axle on entry and then throttle it as early as you can. Normally, once you've taken that first apex, let it ride out to the outside and then back onto the brakes through Lafagna. Right and then left-hander. And the exit of the Lafagna, not important whatsoever. What is important is the exit speed of Campus. As I said before, the exit here will give your speed as at the top of the hill at the bus stop as we come through Stavelot Flat Curveball Freya is the long sweeping right-hander, then left up here, up towards Blanchimont. In his GT3 cars, they are the slightest of lifts. You heard the note just hesitate ever so slightly there. Up towards the bus stop chicane, the redesigned bus stop chicane. I much prefer the old one with the sweeping right and left to end the lap out onto the start finish line. This is where we will end the race, as you see the name tag pop up, and that one being a 2:20, and La Source, this wonderful dipping hairpin that sets the car up for the rest of the lap. That didn't feel like 2 minutes of racing, it felt like about 3 seconds. But what is very, very important now is that I get the camera on Barrington Smith, who goes side by side with a Bentley of Venter. Easy as anything to make that pass in the end. Barrington Smith was making massive progress towards the back of that 42 car, but within a lap has nailed down over 5 seconds. It looks as though Venter hasn't necessarily lost any pace either. That is purely Venter nailing the pace of that Audi. Third position secured for the 74 Audi, and 10 seconds to try and catch Tristan Dinnebrega for that second spot on the podium. Let's have a look at a BMW as well of Jacques Vermeulen. Starting to put pressure. We're under 10 minutes to go. So this is go time now. If you have anything left in the car, Vermeulen had a little bit less than he thought going through Bruxelles there. Lights absolutely ablaze for the 34 BMW. It might not throw the driver off in front, but it might, and that's all the opportunity and temptation that you need. Any excuse to get the driver to not be looking at the track ahead. About a second is where... Oh, drive through for Van Vuren. The number 6 car, after having such a good race, been given a drive through. Is that for track limits, I ask to the ether. Vermeulen's fallen back on the second half of the track, but that BMW isn't the greatest necessarily in a straight line. We come through the bus stop chicane. 34 pings across and gets the gap back below, almost below a second. Van Vuren is going to fall behind this fight as well. So the fight that was over 8th becomes the fight over 7th. Anthony Wilson too, looking like he is, pressuring Quentin Stein into the bus stop. That number 2 car under massive pressure with the Bentley behind. I am not jealous of Quentin. I've been followed by Bentleys. They are imposing cars. Through La Source. AI sheep. What? Yep, Van Vuren was doing absolutely brilliantly, and to fall behind, he's, 9th is, ooh, 9th, 10th, ooh, 10th was where he dropped to, but the 107 made contact with Quentin Stein. What happened there? Let's grab a quick replay. We were not in the right position to see what was going on there. Quentin Stein there. This is where... So, out of the pits... Come on, give me a camera angle. There we go. That'll be the Ferrari side-by-side there. So on the brakes into Lecom, the 06 will go past. Quentin tries to go back to the racing line. That was very strange. As that was for position as well, at that point in time. So, Jansen Van Vuren will give the position... hasn't given the position back yet. He didn't really do anything wrong. That was a really weird incident. That was a very, very strange incident. But it means that Anthony is nosed into the wall through seemingly no fault of his own. That's a very, very difficult thing to have to call. Vermeulen on the back of Rutter again. We've come through the tighter area of the track and suddenly the BMW's back on the bumper of the Ferrari. This is going to be nice having the toe up the Kemmel straight. Ferrari goes defensive very early as is expected. BMW gets on the brakes, makes it side by side into Lecom. Can he hold it into the left-hander? He doesn't. There is contact made. The BMW shoves him back in the straight line. Sorry, Sunshine, you aren't having a spin on my watch. I do not want that penalty. But the BMW goes for the very peculiar double apex line through Bruxelles. So difficult to get that to work. Dale de Villiers, after having such a good start to the race, down in 14th, is pressuring Robin van der Merwe now. Is quick. Venter as well. Venter under pressure from Strauss, the number 1 car. Give me a second, sorry. Bentley under pressure from the Porsche. They're starting to get desperate now, but the Porsche carried so much speed. That was a pass off the track, but what more could Strauss do there? He got on the brakes for the bus stop just fine. Don't know what else there was to be done. Deadman Racing team in the YouTube chat, don't think anticipated how slow Stein went into the corner. No, what happened was Stein came back kind of across the racing line. It was really, as I say, really strange incident. I'm sure there was a reason for it. Either oversteer that we weren't seeing through netcode, or it would have been trying to stay out of the way after having his own issue trying to avoid the Ferrari of Jansen Van Vuren. Yeah, it's just a really odd incident, that. Really strange. But Van Merwe has fallen away from the back now as Nobrega, in the closing laps of the race, has Heineke taken too much out of those Porsche tyres, or is he? I think I know what he's doing. I know what he's doing. He is trying to push the McLaren back so that they don't have to do another race. Don't worry, this will be the last lap of the race. But the gap is down below a second. Nobrega smells blood. Is there not enough fuel in that Porsche to get it to the line, or is there only just enough fuel in that Porsche to get it to the line? It's staying stationary at a second. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's going to be so close. McLaren has higher top speed as they go into Blanchimont for the final time under race conditions. This is the kind of racing we love to see. De Villiers is gotten it back in control as Heineke gets it done on the bus stop for the final time. A flash of the lights for the race winner. Tristan de Nobrega will have to concede second place, but what a race. I wonder what happened with Chris Heineke's car there. As Wilson now under pressure from De Villiers, the 107 car, really struggling with that nowhere near self-induced damage on the front of that Bentley. We have the opportunity to watch this battle to the end, and hopefully it's going to be some lovely clean racing to finish out this race. The Aston looks to be in slightly better shape than the Bentley, as there's a little twitch as the 107 just catches that curb on the inside of Puon. It's an awful curb to catch when you get it wrong. Is there anything that De Villiers can do in these closing stages? Van der Merwe is there as well. This could well be, if it goes poorly, this could be a very, very close finish. Coming up the hill, the Bentley has got nowhere near as much top speed as the Aston behind. Up through Blanchimont, the gap comes down to 0.3 of a second. The Bentley will be very good on the brakes. He goes to the inside, to the middle of the road to cover, comes back to the racing line. Aston up the inside, 731 will give him space. Oh, De Villiers with a drive-through for running wide. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will be the end of the race, with the exception of Robin van der Merwe. There we go. So, your race, there we go. So, your timetables and your grid for the end of the race. Chris Heinecker will take the win. Tristan Dinnerbregger will take home second. Ryan Barrington-Smith in that 74 Audi with a fantastic comeback to take the final step of the podium. Kornstrauss in the number 1 Porsche will take fourth. Paul Venter in a very respectfully driven Bentley GT3 car will come home fifth. Sixth will be the 93 of Neil Greening. Jack Vermeulen in the 34 car will come home seventh. Eighth will be Ethan Rutter in that 975 car. Gerrit Jansen van Vuren will come home in ninth. Quentin Stern, as everything goes very, very wrong, come home ninth. 10th will be... all the names have disappeared and shuffled around. Damn it. I won't be able to finish the rest of them, unfortunately. That is a shame. But thank you very much for watching. Everyone is putting out the server as well. I don't think we have a place to have driver interviews, unfortunately. That's not a problem. That's absolutely fine. We will maybe have something like that next time out. Everybody, leave your comments below if you have anything to add or that I've missed, or anything worthy of commentary. Drivers who were not able to come and have interviews, please, please, please tell us everything in comments as well. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed the race, or my commentary, or just the whole production. And I take very, very great pleasure from saying I will see you all next week, where we come to my home track, and a track I know very, very well, Brands Hatch. I will see you all next week. Have a wonderful week, and as always, be excellent to each other. Good night.